bullets and teeth. Robert slid around the car, dropped, and rolled. 2 zombies slammed into it and ricocheted, sprinting down the alley. He held his breath for a little longer, not daring to breathe, and scanned the street around him. No undead he could see, but lots of dead, and even more signs of those who died and rose again. Robert shuddered, eyes focused on a child's leg. The blue sports shoes were still on the foot, even as the rest of the body was gone. Where the boy's hips should be stood a glass door, leaning against it as if it were a doorstopper. That could work, he thought, checking to see where Matt ran off to. But he was nowhere to be seen. He will be fine, Robert thought, pulling himself out. 4 zombies shambled past his car, slow and unsteady, almost reminding him of the walkers, almost. He saw them run, he saw them swarm. Shit, he almost felt it a moment ago. These undead were more like World War Z zombies than his beloved walkers. Jesus, he thought, feeling stupid. Tony and he had made plans for walkers, discussed them in detail. Where to go, what to do, who to take. It seemed so easy back then, so simple and clear. But none of those plans included being in NYC when the outbreak happened, or the sprinters, or his brother's death. A hollow pain spread through him like a wave, but he pushed it down, squeezing his crowbar harder. The last of the 4 finally waddled away, unsteady feet dragging more than they walked. Robert turned away, focusing on his new objective, on possible safety and food. The building's door stood ajar, stuck on the severed leg. Poor kid, he thought. But his bad luck was their luck. Matt and he could slip in and out quickly, but so could the zombies, he reminded himself. But even that was worth the risk. They needed to rest, eat, and refill their bottles. A tall, slim man slid out of the shadows across the street and signaled all clear, in the wrong direction. So Matt hadn't seen me run and hide? Rob moved, quick and efficient. He dragged himself out and stood, eyes scanning the street. The 4 zombies joined a little group at one end, and some 6 swayed on the other, but none around them. That was the only good thing about them swarming and clustering. The rest really fucking sucked. Robert checked the car door, and it was locked. No surprise there, but he still scowled as he rushed across the street, holding his head low and weapon tight, eyes darting left and right. No one saw him, and he felt his heart skip a beat when Matt joined him. "The door," he whispered. "Open one," Matt whispered back. Rob nodded, pointing up. "Not ground level." "Good thinking," the man muttered and rushed. Rob did the same, keeping an eye on the bigger group. The door squeaked as they pushed in, and it all but shrieked as it swung close. Growls echoed in the building. Lethargic shambles turned to hard sprints. Both men ran deeper into the building. More growls sounded, most coming from above. Some, though, came from closed apartments. Rob went for the stairs, angling for the basement. Matt rushed through an open door. Bloody hand and face prints all over the white wood and wall. Heart in his chest stopped. The idiot just ran blindly into an apartment that had been broken into by zombies. The snarls closed in. "Fuck!" Rob rushed in after him, pushing the door shut and leaning against it. Something slammed against the door. Rob grunted, putting all his weight on it. A snarl came from behind him. Rob glanced back. A fucking kid zombie came rushing at him. A crowbar took the little undead's head off, or it ripped into it and spattered the brains all across the apartment. The door shook as yet another zombie slammed into it. "Help me," Rob mouthed. Matt, the bastard, lifted one finger and rushed deeper into the apartment, leaving Rob standing there, staring like a fool as the man carried over a bundle of keys. "The hell will that do?" Rob wanted to scream. But that in turn would also do nothing, so he bit his tongue and waited. Matt grinned and turned the key. The door barricade bar clicked and locked the door in place. Or it would have if the whole thing hadn't been busted. Another slammed into it. "Fuck," Matt muttered, leaning against the door. "What now?" Rob jammed his crowbar under the knob and into the floor. Heavy stuff. Desk? Sofa? The room smelled like blood, wax, and sweat. Robert sat on the floor, his back against the desk they had dragged in front of the door. One stub of a candle sputtered between him and Matt, the tiny flame dancing with every draft that seeped in through the cracked window. 3 empty cans littered the floor, the bottle of Coke resting between them. Rob sipped it. It bit his tongue and cheeks. But it felt so good, so normal. And the sugar did wonders for his mood. "You want a sip?" he asked. "Romantic." Matt shook his head, cigarette dangling from his lips, eyes glowing red in the half-light. "If you were prettier, I might kiss you. Try it, and I'll push you out the window," Robert said. The words were flat, but his lips twitched. The street outside moaned with the endless chorus. They had stopped counting over a day ago now. Time meant little when you measured it only in battery percentage, candle length, and the growl of empty stomachs. Or in this case, only half-empty stomachs and the last of their Coke. "You think they'll thin out?" Matt asked, gesturing with the cigarette toward the shadows beyond the glass. Robert shook his head. "You ever see pigeons leave New York?" Matt snorted, smoke curling. "Fair point." Silence settled again, except for the flame's quiet hiss. Robert's eyes drifted to the candle. The wax was nearly gone, the wick sinking lower and lower. His brain, tired and cruel, whispered a thought. When it dies, so do we. Memories of his brother flowed in his mind's eye. "Will I get to see Tony again?" "Stop it," Matt said. "What?" "That thing you do, the staring. You're thinking too much." Matt leaned back, propping his boots on the desk. "Let the candle burn. When it goes out, we'll light another. Or we'll sit in the dark. That's it. Nothing poetic about it." Robert blinked at him, then chuckled under his breath. "You're an idiot." "True," Matt grinned. "But I'm an idiot still breathing." And the candle, small and stubborn, burned on, like his big brother used to. A sad smile tugged on his lips. Even a burning candle and its dancing flames reminded him of Tony. It has been over 4 months since the accident, and Rob still had a hard time wrapping his head around it. One moment, the two of them were laughing, and the next, Tony was gone. It was all a big blur, the funeral, the days after, his crying mother and silent father, and yet he remembered the man's almost smiling face in a wooden casket. Not even death could erase Tony's good mood. A thud from the hallway forced him back into reality. Just one, heavy and close. Then silence. Matt sat up. Rob grabbed the crowbar, holding it tightly. The undead thing shambled away, moaning all the while. Robert gripped his weapon, still tense and ready to move. The seconds stretched. Matt sighed, and Rob relaxed, stretching his legs out, boots scuffing the floor. The candle had burned lower, wax pooling around the base of the glass ashtray they'd shoved it in. He caught himself staring at it again, flame wobbling like it was nervous too. "You're doing it again," Matt muttered. "Doing what?" "Staring like it's gonna tell you the future." Matt tapped his ash into the puddle of wax. "Spoiler alert, it ain't." Robert smirked, but didn't stop. The flame bent sideways, caught in another draft. Outside, the moans rose and fell like waves, sometimes near, sometimes distant, but never gone. Always there, pushing against the walls of his skull. "You ever think about what they want?" Robert asked, not looking up. Matt blew out a long stream of smoke. "They want us. End of mystery. No, I mean want. Like inside their head. If there's anything left, you think they know they're gone? Or do they just?" He let the words trail. Matt scratched at his jaw, cigarette bouncing between his lips. "You're asking if there's still a person in there?" Robert nodded, finally lowering the weapon. Matt took the cigarette out, stared at the glowing tip, then laughed. "Jesus, man. I thought I was the fucked up one." "You are?" "Yeah. But you're trying to psychoanalyze corpses. Me? I just try not to get eaten. He leaned back farther, balancing the chair on two legs. If there's anything left inside them, it's screaming. That's what I figure. Like trapped in your own body, watching it all happen. Robert winced. That's cheerful. You asked. Matt grinned, teeth flashing in the candlelight. Another thud froze them both. Heavier and closer than before. Matt's grin slid off his face. He flicked the cigarette into the wax, and the stub hissed out. The sudden darkness swallowed them whole, leaving only the faint light of the city bleeding in through the window. Nice going, Robert muttered. You wanted romance? Matt whispered back, but his voice was tight. They waited. Neither moved, neither breathed too loud. The quiet stretched until Robert's chest ached from holding it. A zombie slammed into the door, rattling his teeth. Shit, Matt mouthed. Robert's hand found the steel crowbar leaning against the desk. His palm was slick with sweat, the shaft colder than he expected. He tightened his grip until his knuckles ached. The thing moaned and stumbled away. Just footsteps trailing off into the dark. Seconds passed. Then a minute. It felt a lot longer. Finally, Matt leaned back, let out a shaky snort. See? Nothing to worry about. Robert looked at him. In the dark, he couldn't see the man's face, but he could hear the way his voice shook, like a cracked note on a guitar string. And for once, Robert didn't argue. He just let the silence have them both. And it did. For what must have been hours, neither of them talked, nor did they sleep. They couldn't, not with the things at their front door. But nothing lasted long in this new world, not even the oppressive silence. Especially not silence. At first, it was a low rumble, so faint that Robert thought it was Matt's stomach. But it grew, rising under the floorboards, vibrating through the glass. Then came the first crack of a rifle. One sharp note that echoed between the towers. Another. Then a burst of pops. Matt sat up straight. Soldiers again, he whispered. Yes. Robert crawled to the window, pulling the blinds down just enough to peek. Flash after flash lit the street. Muzzle fire, glimpses of soldiers in formation, the heavy thump of boots on asphalt. They're sweeping, Robert breathed, watching them pass an adjacent alley, directly in line with their window. Shit. Fuck, Matt whispered, because already the moans were rising. Louder, closer, a chorus answering the gunfire. Shadows lurched from side streets, dozens of them, converging on the soldiers. The rifle cracks multiplied. Then the scream of something heavier, a grenade maybe. The street lit up white and orange. The building shook, dust drifting down from the ceiling. A zombie slammed against their door. Then another. The desk rattled, the sofa lurched. Shit! They're drawing them right to us! Matt hissed. Robert pulled back from the blinds. We need to move. Bloody fingers reached through the crack. No kidding. Matt was already stuffing cigarettes into his pocket, grabbing his crowbar. Door or window? Another explosion rattled the windows. Closer this time. Robert's ears rang. He thought of the candle, now just a puddle of wax cooling in the ashtray. Their little moment of stillness, gone like it had never been. Window, Robert said, before he could talk himself out of it. Matt grinned, wild-eyed in the dark. Feels like high school all over again. Another zombie slammed into the door, and it lurched inward. A cheekless face joined the fingers, gritting teeth, dripping with spit and blood. The world outside had found them again. The desk screeched across the floor as more zombies piled up on it. That sound alone would have been enough to wake the dead, except the dead were already wide awake. New neighbors, Matt muttered. His grin was gone now. We move or we get boxed in. Rob threw the window open and screams filled his ears. High, human, and cut short. He hesitated for a moment, listening to people scream and the gunfire that killed them all. "Move!" Matt shouted, and Rob jumped out. They burst into the night. Gunfire tore through the lit street, illuminating running shadows across the walls, all around them. A snarl came from behind. A shape lunged through the window. Gray skin, slack jaw, blood wet down its chin. Robert's crowbar shot forward before he could think, the steel shaft shaking in his hands as the thing crumpled. Another came flying through. Matt's swing stopped it mid-air. The head exploded. Blood and brains splattered the man's shins and shoes. "Go!" Robert barked, pointing left, away from the soldiers. They ran, boots crunching damp dirt and grass, past the fence, containers, and parked cars. Behind them, glass shattered. Windows broke not by hands, but by shoulders and skulls battering through. Robert risked a glance back. Half a dozen, maybe more. Once human faces twisted into snarls. His blood went cold as the zombies charged. They rounded a corner just as a massive horde did. An endless wave of zombies poured into the street from all around, smashing into cars and trees, then swallowing them in their mindless pursuit of gunfire. "Back!" Robert shouted. But there was no back. The street behind them thundered with footsteps, guttural snarls closing in. Behind, around, ahead, trapped. Matt didn't hesitate. He pointed at the side alley, the muzzle flashes lighting it, glimpses of soldiers visible between shots. That way, Robert watched the man run, unsure if he should follow. But then again, they had no other choice. He snarled and ran into the incoming soldiers, into muzzle flashes. The stench of cordite and blood filled the night, mixing with the gunfire, screaming. The two men ran into chaos, into noise, into the open air that suddenly felt worse than any coffin. They were blind, not knowing what came after, and overturned trash cans, or burned out cars. But still they ran, past the blur of gray faces that snapped and lunged from alleys, past fallen men and women. Some bitten, some shot. Zombies clawed at their backs, close enough for Robert to feel nails scratching air by his neck. He swung his crowbar blindly, felt it connect, and kept running. Gunfire stitched the street ahead, tracer lines burning the night. Soldiers down the block lit up the street with muzzle flashes, zombies swarming them like ants on sugar. Matt glanced back, eyes going wide. "Faster!" They sprinted out of the alley, straight into the curtain of blood and death. Then they burst clear. Open street, soldiers dead ahead. "Soldiers!" Matt wheezed, waving at them. A line of them, helmets low, guns braced, light dancing off their visors. "Cover us!" Robert screamed, though his throat was raw and the words were drowned by everything else. The roar of rifles, the guttural moans, the boom of grenades rolling thunder down the block. The soldiers didn't move, didn't wave them over, didn't break formation. Just kept firing, wall of bullets chewing through the swarm. Robert raised his hands again, voice cracking. "Don't shoot! Don't!" The first shot took Matt in the chest. He staggered, eyes wide, the crowbar flying out of his hand. The second tore past Robert's ear, hot and deafening. He stumbled, hit the pavement, and rolled hard. "We are not infected!" Rob shouted, crawled toward Matt, but the line didn't falter. Muzzle flashes lit the street, hot casings clinking on asphalt. The man lay on his back, blood soaking his shirt, the grin still plastered on his face like some cruel joke. "Told you," Matt coughed, blood bubbling up. "Romantic." The soldiers advanced, boots steady, rifles spitting fire. Their eyes never even flicked to him. Robert pressed a hand to Matt's chest, feeling the life slip out between his fingers. "Cigar et," Matt croaked, And then the tide of the dead caught up again, pouring from behind, from alleys, from everywhere. Pinned between the rifles and the Horde, Robert finally understood. There was no side to be on, no safe ground, just bullets, teeth, and the thin line between. That roared with gunfire. He lit a cigarette and placed it between Matt's lips. They twitched upwards, smoke escaping his nose. Hot pain exploded in his ribs, shoulder, and legs. Rob toppled over, his hands crushing the cigarette pack. The world was slowly fading, and then he saw him again. His older brother. Tony smiled down at him from the heavens, calling his name. The gunfire tore it away. Soldiers marched past them, not even glancing down as their guns flashed one last time. Bullets tore through Matt and Rob, ending their suffering then and there. And as the dark took him, Rob glimpsed the Horde swelling, rising, crashing into the platoon, swallowing them. You've just listened to Bullets and Teeth, a standalone story from The Collapse. I post new stories twice a week, with The Collapse and, starting again next week now that Spooktober has passed, the Kill List saga running side by side. If you enjoyed this, hit like, subscribe, and check out the Kill List saga, dark revenge fantasy full of blood oaths, a brutal world, and unforgettable characters. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.